What's going on, guys? Drewzy here, back again with another South Park Phone Destroyer video, guys, and we're doing another video suggestion that you guys have been having for quite a while now. A little while back, I did a couple of different videos with the top 10 common cards and the top 10 rare cards within the entire game, but a lot of you have been asking for the top 10 spells within the game. Now, before we get started with this breakdown, of course, of top 10 spells, this spells has been subject to change for quite a while now. There's been a lot of balance changes within spells, especially with the mystical spells, which has upset quite a few people. So, and this, of course, countdown, as is any top 10 countdown, is always subject to change as balance changes happen. I feel really confident that there are at least the top 5 spells within this are very much, you could without argue, are the top 5 spells within the game. And then the bottom 5 probably kind of hit and miss. I will go through most of these spells as within their respective themes, and then it will be go through all 10 here towards the end. But this is going to be some debating going on as far as this countdown is concerned. But let me know down below in the comment section what you think of this breakdown as we go along. So we're going to again start in the adventure theme to start it out, and the 3 spells we're going to talk about in an adventure theme, in my opinion, no doubtedly should be on this list. So the first one we're going to mention is the cheapest, which is Aerostorm. So Aerostorm needs to be on this list for the sheer fact of that it wipes out everything on the battlefield, including air units, ground units, does not matter what it is, relatively well and with good amount of damage. The unfortunate part about Aerostorm is it is a epic card, so the only way to obtain it is through packs or store purchases. You're not able to request Aerostorm as far as from your clan and things like that, so it's a little bit harder to level up this card. And then of course, as the epic cards go, it's going to be harder to obtain each one going forward. So you should be able to get it to level 3 relatively easy if you're able to just grind packs, things like that. But then after that point, it's going to get much more difficult to keep leveling this spell up. The big upside to spells outside of any of the other type of cards as far as character cards is that spell cards do not require materials to level them up, only gold, and of course the cards themselves. So you just need the right amount of cards and then just gold to upgrade them. So that's a huge advantage to spell cards over the regular character cards throughout the course of the game, but Aerostorm definitely needs to make the list. Number 2 is a pretty easy one yet again, Lightning Bolt. Lightning Bolt I like to call the ultimate cancel card, and that's pretty much the main design of the card itself. It can also do a decent amount of enemy leader damage or new kid damage to the point to where you could possibly steal a bar if the bar is low enough that you can then just hit with a quick Lightning Bolt to end a draw or sudden death match. But of course, this is probably the best 4-4 cancel in the game. You can take out a lot of different units. There are just a handful that it cannot one hit, but there are quite a few that it can. I unfortunately do not have it to level 4 yet. That's something I'm definitely working towards at this point, but I would highly suggest you get Lightning Bolt to 4 as fast as possible. Whether you have to request it through your in-game group and things like that, that would be highly suggested because it does a ton of damage. As you see, over 460 damage at level 4, which can again eliminate a lot of one-hit opportunities. Even some level 2 legendaries can be one hit with this spell. Not all of them, but some of them can. So it's overall just a very solid spell card and easily should make this list. And the last card we're going to talk about from the adventure theme again is Fireball. Fireball is probably the ultimate push canceller, is one of the terms that it has, or one of the things that I like to refer to it as it is a high energy cost of 5, but it can take out units, a lot more units that are much higher total cost than just the 5 cost. It needs to be situationally used. Yes, it will do enemy leader damage, not very much. It's more to be designed to be used against opposing cards more so than the enemy leader. But I mean, again, if you got the enemy leader down to a low enough amount and you just need to get that fireball off to get the kill, it's totally understandable to get to stop a sudden a current draw or to stop a sudden death type of scenario, but would not suggest to use it to just bombard and do damage to the enemy new kid, but more so to focus on situationally using it to take out as many units as possible. A Fireball, without question, needs to make this list. It's widely debated as the best spell card in this entire game. I mean, a lot of people are now leaning more towards Lightning Bolt as being that specific card, but I mean, this card can just do so much damage and help you out so much if situationally used that you have to easily think that Fireball definitely needs to be in the conversation as best spell card. but it definitely would make the list of top 10 spells for sure. Now we're going to transition to sci-fi cards real quick, guys, and easily the sci-fi card that needs to make the list is Poison, as Poison is one of the cheapest spell cards. It does do a dot damage or damage over time effect of Poison. As you see with my current leveling of it, it does 22 poison damage per second for 10 seconds, so that's a total of 220 total damage. To all the units that were affected by poison. Poison's radius is insane right now. It is very, very large. It's probably the largest spell right now within the game after they nerf Purify and Powerbind ridiculously, to where now Poison just can almost engulf the entire arena, it feels like, half the time. It's definitely got a lot of, it's definitely much stronger now after the Purify nerf, so, I mean, there's no debate that Poison should definitely be in this, and is easily one of the top spell cards in the game, if not the top one now, because of how much better Poison is with the Purify nerfs. So Poison, again, easily should be on this top 10 list. Next one for me, this might be a little bit of a wild card, and some of you might disagree with this one, but I think Hyperdrive is definitely a top 10 spell right now within the game. And the main reason why I think that is just because of, you know, just the effect that it can have. I think that Hyperdrive, if used situationally at the right time, can do devastating amounts of damage, because it's going to boost all of your allies for the duration, which will increase as you level it up. And it's just, it can just be, again, it needs to be situationally used. I would not suggest to just immediately cast Hyperdrive with 1 or 2 units, but you can save Hyperdrive till towards the end of a match if it's a 1-1 draw, or you're close to taking a bar out, and use it with, you know, a couple swarm units or a couple flying units or whatever you deem it necessary with, and you can just use Hyperdrive to pretty much wipe out a bar or even a bar and a half if you use it at the right time with the right units. So Hyperdrive, very situational, but I would highly suggest waiting to use it, and not to kind of allow your opponent to know that you have it in your deck, but kind of use it as a secret weapon per se at some point during the match. But Hyperdrive, I think, should definitely be on this list. Another one that could be debated as well would be Mind Control, and I think just the main reason why Mind Control should be on this list is just the length of duration that it will control an enemy unit. It will, as you can see, mine currently will last for 8 seconds, and I'll get half a second here with a few more mind controls. I think Mind Control is another situational card. A lot of the sci-fi cards, other than Poison, actually all the sci-fi cards in my opinion, are situational cards that you need to use them at the right time for them to be the most effective. But Mind Control, the fact that you can just basically control another unit, and it can be a kind of a cancel in its own right. You can take Mind Control and then use a charged ability, for instance, against an opposing player. So say you got a Standing Many Moons coming at you and you don't have Lightning Bolt, but you have Mind Control. You use Mind Control to control Standing Many Moons at the right point, and then use his ultimate to then wipe out the opposing team. Something kind of like that. Or maybe to use it on a Mecha Timmy, and then have Mecha Timmy Mind Control something else, and then you have just, you know, all this different kind of capabilities with Mind Control. I think because of the versatility of Mind Control is another big boost to it. The fact that you can situationally pick the unit that you want to use, but just if it's used at the right time, can be devastating. Most of the time you probably won't see the spell used more than maybe once or twice in a match. Probably same with Hyperdrive. With something like Poison, you're going to use it a whole bunch of times, most likely during a match. Even Fireball, you might use it more than once. Or Lightning Bolt, but at least with Mind Control, probably going to be situational. You may not even use it at all, but just based on the way some of the spells have been tweaked lately, I feel like these two got moved up as far as usefulness, and some of the others were downgraded and don't even make the list at all, that probably would have in the past. So again, Mind Control, situational, but I still think can be effective if used correctly. So the next spell on the list for me is Regeneration. Now, Regeneration is, again, a card that's been hit and miss. This card has been tweaked, I think, more than any other card within this game. And I could be wrong in that part, but I feel like Regeneration just gets buffed, gets nerfed all the time. But I still feel like it's still in a okay position. It's not by any means. It used to be pretty much an elite card, and it was almost too overpowered. But they've tweaked it down to the point to where I think it's at a healthy level, but still extremely useful. The fact that if you have enough of an army that you're pushing then towards an enemy new kid, you can use this to kind of turn the tide and almost even cancel out poison at times if you're lucky enough with it, or you have it high enough leveled. I think Regeneration still has its purpose within this game, and I still think it's still useful situationally. Should you use it to heal up one unit? Absolutely not. You should probably use it to at least heal up maybe 3 to 4 or more units, hopefully, if you're lucky enough, to get as many units the capabilities of using Regeneration, because not only is it going to boost your health, but it also boosts your speed for a very temporary period of time. So it's just overall still a useful spell. It's still, you know, still the 3 cost is still cheap enough that it can still be viable within a mystical deck. But it's by no means as amazingly powerful as it was early on in this game's existence. Another one I put in that category in here is Hallelujah. And Hallelujah has been tweaked a little bit, and I think is now more powerful than it was initially, just because of all the debuffs to regeneration and things like that. I think that Hallelujah situationally can be extremely effective to get that base heal guaranteed on all units. Instead of the regeneration over time heal, you get the automatic heal. And again, most would be best used probably later in a match when you have the additional energy, you know, coming at you after the 1 minute, with 1 minute to remain or less, or to be used at the right time during a push if you have enough extra energy lying around, that you have enough units on the field that you can then immediately heal them and then hopefully be able to take a bar, maybe 2, off an opposing new kid. So Hallelujah, like many spells in general are mostly just going to be situational, but Hallelujah is another situational style card that, if used right, can be devastating and can really frustrate an opposing new kid very, very easily. And the last one for the mystical theme is Unholy Combustion. And Unholy Combustion has made this list primarily because this is the ultimate cancel card, unlike Lightning Bolt, because this one will guaranteedly kill whatever enemy you hit with it, as long as you hit the right enemy. It also will do a little bit of surrounding damage, but in my opinion, you don't really need to level up Unholy Combustion very much beyond the original just level 1, because again, the amount of damage that you're going to get boosted to you, probably not worth spending the ridiculous amount of gold to keep leveling it up. Maybe I could be wrong in that category. As you see, I got to level 2 and I stopped leveling up, even though I have the ability to level up, I think, almost 2 more times to level 4. I just don't see the value in doing that, so I don't think I'm going to do that. But Unholy Combustion, again, just will immediately cancel any card out. If you have a big tank that you're just going to not want to deal with and it's going to be extremely annoying, Unholy Combustion is a great way to eliminate it very easily. It was very prominent in a deck very early on, especially with Man-Bear Pig as a Man-Bear Pig counter. But now that you've seen Man-Bear Pig kind of go away and Assassins now rule the roost as far as the most units that most people have within their decks, Unholy Combustion's kind of taken a back seat and not used as popular as it was in the beginning phases of this game. But I still think it still has value. I still think it's still one of the top spells. And with the Purify and Power Bind nerfs, those 2 cards would have definitely been on this before. But now with the ridiculous amount of nerfs that got placed on them most recently, they are not even on this list at all anymore. So Unholy Combustion has moved up like some of the other spells from the sci-fi theme because of the nerfs to those 2 cards specifically. So, but still think that it would have made the Unholy Combustion probably still would have made the list even with the Power Bind and Purify being on the list. But again, a great cancel card, situational, but very useful. And last but not least for the top 10 spells is Transmogrify. Now, Transmogrify and Cock Magic, you can probably go back and forth and debate which of these 2 are the best. In my opinion, this one is the better of the 2, because with Cock Magic, it is random to either your units or the opposing units will get affected with the Cock Magic spell. So that's the tricky part, and that's why I don't like it. Yes, Cock Magic has the ability to affect multiple units, but it could even affect your own units. But if you are smart enough and use Cock Magic when you don't have any units on the field, that's really not going to hurt you as much. But if you do have units on your field, people might panic and cast it out, and then it could screw you over more than it could help and help them than it could help you. So that's why I think Transmogrify is a little bit better, because it will just affect one unit exactly the same as Unholy Combustion, except instead of completely eliminating it from the field, it will turn into a pretty much useless rat for that you can easily kill and then take the advantage back in your favor. As you see, as you level it up, the enemy level decreases as it continues to level up, so it becomes less and less powerful of a rat unit essentially as you go about it. But those are my top 10 spells, guys, for this breakdown video. Again, let me know down below what you think of this top 10 spells. If you agree, disagree, I always appreciate the comments that you guys leave and try to do the best I can to respond to them. I will try to make my top 10 epic cards here probably within the next week or 2, as I feel like a lot of the balances have now come within the epic cards to where I feel okay with trying to do a top 10 epics. And that will, again, be coming here in the near future. But until next time, guys, my name is Drewzy.